Yeah, y'all should learn not to underestimate. I got the sauce, check my resume. I murdered every single track I made, even on my feature slate. Don't play with me, boy, underlay. All my Spanish homies say it with me. Say silencio. To all my haters, man, they just don't know what I did before I got this flow. This song ain't for the radio. This is for the ones who know they don't. You just wanted confirmation, so let this be the anthem.
Welcome to the Perfect Balance Podcast. I'm your host, King John. Today we have a special guest with us, a local DJ, but I'll let him introduce himself and let him tell you guys what he does.
I'm Devon. As he said, I'm a local DJ. I've been DJing for 15 years. I'm 30 years old. Started DJing when I was pretty young.
Okay.
I've created a full-time business out of it. It became a full-time business actually pretty much straight out of high school. My other business I actually own is a trading card shop.
Nice.
It's a local shop here. I deal mostly with trading card games, so like Pokemon, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, all that good stuff. I have a whole big shop, 70th and Maple.
What's it called?
Advertising, the Collector's Corner, actually.
The Collector's Corner?
Yeah, the Collector's Corner. So, that business I started during COVID. It's been such a huge blessing, bigger than anything I did. So yeah, that's what I do. That's who I am.
Nice.
Yeah.
Check this out, guys. So we met twice. The second time it was complete coincidence, but I think things happen for a reason, right? So I was working at this place, 88 Tactical, as a range safety officer.
Cool place, by the way.
It is an awesome place. He came in, I think you were a part of a networking event?
And I go once a month just to go shoot. I like to keep up on my skills.
Okay.
I think everybody should practice their Second Amendment, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think, just for safety and for training, I think I encourage everybody to do that. But I think I was there maybe with some friends having some lunch and maybe just hitting the range.
Yeah, and me just being the person I am, I'm just talking to everybody. And I started realizing, oh, you do this, you do that. I do this. Man, we got to network at some point. He gave me a business card.
Yep.
And then I started to get more into my music business with a certain company that I'm working at currently. So I didn't hit him up right away. But I was in the back of my mind every day, I'm like, I see his card in my wallet. I'm like, hey, I got to hit him up. But let's not do it unless I have like a solid plan. I don't want to just hit someone up, just be like, hey, by the way, I know you're there.
Yep.
Contact, I want to be able to say, hey, this is what I got going on. I remembered I had your number, and hey, what do you think about this? So just randomly, I'm doing an event at my second job at a hotel where mostly I do weddings. Mm-hmm. He's the DJ for the wedding. I see him come in, and I'm like, I know this guy.
I love it.
So I went to talk to him. I was like, hey, man,
there's a
what
reason.
you been up to?
Yep. So tell me a little bit more about your side.
Oh, man.
Let's just start with the podcast. What's the long-term goal? I want to be able to look back at this episode and say, hey, remember when we talked about that a few years ago, or even maybe a few months, who knows, how things could go and how things move. But what is the goal right now? I mean, you could talk short term, long term.
Oh, man.
What are we doing here?
So the Perfect Balance Podcast, for you guys to know as well, it's about balancing life. So a lot of people have their own platforms, podcasts, reaction videos, whatever, and they push a certain agenda.
Yep.
I don't want to do that. A little background on me, so to kind of give you more of a history of why I have the mindset I have.
Yep.
I served 10 years in the Marine Corps. After that,
thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me a reason to serve. Actually, it's the people that really give us the tools.
I want everybody to. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it gives us the tools to do it. Like, military's not a standalone place.
Yeah,
it's
a people.
We have people to fight for.
Amen.
So it's not like we can just be
in a dream world. There would be no military.
We wouldn't have.
There would be
we
peace.
Wouldn't have one.
There would be peace.
We wouldn't have one. So in that world, it taught me structure, discipline, but also looking out for your fellow man.
Yep.
So with that, whenever I had an opinion about something, whether it was right or wrong, I always got supported, no matter what. Whether it was an NCO or staff NCO who was like, all right, this is what you want. This is how we can accomplish a goal, but let me just tell you this, right? Yeah. It was always a balance. So it stuck in my head. I was like, you know what? We don't have to push a certain agenda. We could just have balance. So that's where the name comes from. And the purpose is, let's say I want to talk to you about a certain topic, which we're going to get into the topic here soon. even if we have the same belief, my job here on this podcast is to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
That is to be the perfect balance.
That's my favorite thing to do.
That's to be the perfect balance, right?
I love that.
But that's also why I made a commitment on this podcast not to talk about 3 topics in particular.
Yep.
Religion, war, and politics. Because if we play devil's advocate on there, it causes way more harm than good.
Yeah.
I know there's a way to tote the line, but you never know who's going to be in front of this camera, and you never know the reactions or how much hurt that person may feel. Because you may have a good camera face.
For sure.
The camera goes off and they're like, hey, man, don't ever, I don't want this out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of whatever just happened.
Yeah.
So let's just stay away from that. There's so many more things to talk about. So the topic of the day, though, to let you know, it's called being a good person.
Love it.
Being a good person.
All right, let's talk about it. To be a good person is to be empathetic, to understand. Again, meet people where they are.
Where they are.
Somebody might be having their worst day and flipping you off in traffic. I still try to stay like, I'll smile at them and I'll bless them. But like the me 5 years ago, before I really started growing wiser and growing in my faith, for me, it is getting into the Word of God. I'm not trying to create controversy here. I'm just saying, if you really dwell on the Word, you will understand. God will give you revelation, and I can't explain that.
I understand
it's
that.
just something that if I encourage people to try it, and if I hope it comes to you. I hope everybody sees it. So anyway, what I do is I try to understand that this person might be having a bad day, or this person might be having a bad season in their life, or this person might be going through this. But we're in this like place on earth right now where we're so divided, I feel like, and we're so like blinded that we're just like, well, that person treated me bad, I'm gonna treat them bad, or that person did this.
Hurt people. I've heard that. Yeah, everybody says that.
I grew up very rough. I don't have a father. I grew up with a mother who was a drug addict. I lived in over 20 foster homes. I lived in group homes growing up, all around this city. Born and raised Omaha, Nebraska. I've lived in every part of the city, many homes. I went to a dozen schools. I've been everywhere. It was just an unstable home, a lot of abuse of different sorts. I've endured a lot in my life. Luckily, I always did work hard. So that was one thing I thank God for instilling in me, and never given me lack of, because I did stay on the path of some sort. And I had a lot of mentors, and I had a lot of people that I believe God sent in my life that I may have not known at the time, but I know that those people were sent to make me the man I am right now. And a lot of them are older and no longer with me. And those are the most influential people in my life. And for some reason, God put those people in my life when I was getting tossed around by all the people that were right immediately there.
So being a good person, I have our first scenario that we're going to go over. Okay? If you're assaulted physically, or if someone does something to you, and your reaction to them is to meet them in kind, as fight them back, or retaliate, I guess revenge, I guess you want to say.
Yeah.
Does that make you not a good person anymore?
The closer in relationship I am with God, the easier that question that you ask just gets, because you're going to just be a person, you're going to be just try to be a good person, right? It actually happened to me 3 weeks ago. Let's come back to our industry at a wedding, okay?
Okay.
I was DJing in between the band. They had a band. So I was like doing like little 10, 15 minute, tearing it up. You know what I do.
Yeah.
So this guy comes up to me. I don't really know him well. And I haven't actually talked about this publicly, so it's weird that I'm talking about this. But he came up to me. He asked me for a song. I said, okay, I'll check it out as a DJ. Like, I know there's like a stigma against DJs about playing request. But I think it's cool because I'm a live mixing DJ. You've actually experienced it now for yourself. I try my best to just play for the crowd. So, like, if somebody comes up and they request a song, I'm like, okay, that's a vibe. I can fit that in there. And if I don't know it, I'll actually listen to it first and try to mix it in. Yeah. Well, the song just wasn't the vibe. Okay, so I basically told, like, he came back up the second time. I was like, hey, man, like, I listened to your song. Is just not where we're at right now, you know, whatever. Again, I was only DJing 10, 15 minutes. So he came up to me the third time, and he's like, you piece of
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Like, do your job, you DJ. Like, you're a piece of blah, blah, and, like, cussing me out. He's really drunk. He's very, very, very drunk.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so I finally get done with my little set, and I'm literally ignoring him. Actually, the photo booth lady was right next to me, like, what is going on? And like, I'm kind of backed in the corner because it's at the Hilton, so it's a big wedding.
Okay.
So everybody's on the dance floor having a good time, and this guy is, of course, in my face. I'm like, bro, get out of my face, please. Like, I'm just trying to do my job. I'm not gonna play your song. I apologize. Like, let's move on. I'm like kind of ignoring him while he's like literally screaming at me. He starts kind of tugging me a little bit, and I'm like, all right, so whatever, you know? So anyway, I walk to the dance floor after I'm done with my set. The band goes back on. Right when the band goes back on, I'm walking toward my wife, actually, literally looking at her on the dance floor. He comes up behind me, grabs my shoulder, and turns me around. He's a big dude. He's 6'4". I'm 5'7", 155 pounds. He's 6'4", 240 pounds at least. He's a big dude, tatted, all this stuff. Anyway, he turns me around, flips me around, and grabs me by my shirt and pretty much like he got me a nice little toss on me. So I'm like, all right, bro. And so everybody in the dance floor is like, whoa, what's going on? We're at a wedding and freaking out.
Circle.
Yep. Nope. So I'm like, bro, back off. I'm like, put my, defense.
Yeah.
You understand, like, defensive training and stuff. And the fact that I also carry a firearm with me all the time. So I'm being safe. I'm like, hey, back off, man. Like, I don't want no problems. Like, I told you.
De-escalation.
Yes, I was just trying to de-escalate the situation. Well, he comes up to, he's kind of like, walking fast towards me and basically lunging a punch at me. Well, I literally cocked back and punched him right in his nose and broke his nose, and he was leaking all over the place. But I knew I had no guilt with me. Now, did I want to hurt that dude? Did I even want to fight that dude? First of all, I didn't even want to fight the dude. I want to take the chance. He's way bigger than me. But I had to do what I had to do to protect me. My wife was right behind me. My friends are around, like, and he was just coming at me. Like, So that's a good example of right there. Okay, so I didn't feel any guilt. I didn't lose any sleep that night. I had to sit on that, and I had to understand that this is bigger than me. This is bigger than you. This is bigger than our neighbor. This is bigger than everything. So yes, all these small decisions we make every single day, like choosing to sit on something before you just react. You sit, you dwell, you grow, you understand why you're feeling these ways. And it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be broken. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. Like, sometimes, like, life is, we are human, and we will always fall short. We will always have emotions. We will always have convictions. We will always have feelings, things. Again, the reason why we tick, it comes back to our discussion earlier. So we have the right, are going to feel this way. But your feelings are not truth, and that's something that everybody needs to remember.
I don't believe your actions make you a bad person, but I do believe your intentions with those actions.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it fair for me to say then you don't believe that you're a bad person because of the first type of addiction? It's you're trying and you're failing. But the second type of addiction where you're just kind of giving yourself an excuse, well, you're not even trying at all. You just gave yourself an excuse to be like, well, it's just I was born with it, can't do anything about it.
And I stay away from those kind of people. Now, again,
but does that make them bad people?
No.
But their intentions.
And you know why this question is so hard for me? My biological mom, which I have a couple people I call mom because there's women that have raised me more than my biological mom. But I do know her. And I don't think she's a bad person. I still forgive her. I still honor her. And I love her. Even if we don't speak. I don't have to associate myself with her because she is a person that chooses, like, okay, it's just alcohol now. Like, it used to be crack. Now it's, and then there was other drugs in there. And now it's alcohol. Well, yeah, I'm clean now and sober.
She just replaced one addiction with another. Okay.
So I think that we all do have addictions. I think habits are hard to break.
The next thing we're going to talk about, we're staying on the topic of being a good person, but what do you think people want? So we talked about philosophy, and it's very hard to separate a lot of it from politics, but we're going to go to one thing that I saw that Plato had, going back to Plato. He had these forms of government. I just read them, but if I can remember just off the top of my head, the aristocracy, timocracy, oligarchy, democracy, and a tyranny.
Yep.
Right? And how they kind of go into one another.
Yeah.
But you made a good point off camera about how it's about what people want.
Yeah.
What do you think that people want? And depending on what they want, does that change if you're a good person or a bad person? So, like, what do you think people want?
Ultimately, I believe people want to be able to do what they want in peace. I think that's the ultimate. I think that's the only answer you can do. Because I can't tell you what you want and what I want. You could go to work every day, pay your bills, live in an apartment by yourself. You're okay with not being, say your love isn't in your, like that's not what you're seeking. You don't want partnership, or you don't want a nice car, or you don't want to build a business, or you don't want to be in shape, or you don't want this, but maybe you want to be wiser, right. And you want to grow and through conversations, through conviction, through your ways of learning, whether it's a podcast, reading, conversations, experiencing. Well, that's simple. Well, then maybe my simpleness is I want to be a good father. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good leader in my community and be able. I want to be blessed so I can bless others.
So with that,
okay.
I want to go ahead and bring in the definition of good person.
Yep.
Right? So it is a noun. It is old-fashioned and honest,
old-fashioned,
helpful, or morally good person is defined as a good person. So
okay.
What I was saying earlier is I don't try to be a good person. And it's just for me. Some people do try to be a good person. And I don't think it's a bad thing if you try for it, because you may see faults in yourself and you're like, maybe I should do this more. This will help me out more, help them out more. So let me try to be more morally correct. Let me try to be more helpful to others.
Yeah.
But there are people out there that are just naturally honest, helpful, and morally good. But to go back on what I was saying earlier is what makes me tick is picking on the little guy. When I was growing up, I did not care, because I've been through so many hardships. Just before the age of 12, I've experienced more than normal people have experienced before they were like 23 years old.
I feel that.
Right?
Yeah.
I did not care what you did to me.
Yeah.
Didn't matter, because nothing you did to me comes close to what's been going on in my life.
Right.
As a kid, not even as an adolescent, just as a kid.
Yeah, I understand.
But my problem was when you picked on someone else that was smaller than you and couldn't defend themselves. That made me tick. And
that's so crazy, because I'm that way.
Till this day, it makes me tick. Like if we walk outside right now and I see somebody like pushing over somebody smaller, I'm on bumpers.
I'm that way.
I'm on bumpers.
It's weird. Yep.
But if we walked outside right now, somebody was like, hey, and said some crazy stuff to me, I'd be like, okay. And just keep walking.
It doesn't. Remember what you said earlier? Like,
I know.
It's the people around you. You care more about them getting hurt
more about
than
them
yourself.
than myself.
It's weird. I have the same.
But it's also because
intuition.
of my ego. I'm very confident in my abilities.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. You're not going to try me.
Right.
And if you do try me, that'll be the last mistake you make.
Right. Yep.
But I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a good person.
Yeah.
I just am. There are people who just aren't good people.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm going to draw the line here.
I love it.
It doesn't matter how many things you do that are good. If you're just not a good person, you're not a good person.
I love it.
Right? I'm going to use an example here.
Okay.
One of the greatest leaders, and people get confused when I say this, but one of the greatest leaders in history was Adolf Hitler.
Yep.
The word greatest is not being good.
Yeah. He's just a good leader.
He was just a great leader.
Leader, yes.
He was a bad person.
Yes. Yes.
But what if I told you he did a lot of good things for the people around him?
Right.
That doesn't make him a good person.
Right. Yeah.
He was a bad person.
Agreed. Yeah.
So just because I do these good things doesn't make me a good person.
Right.
It's the intention behind what you do.
Should I bet even Jeffrey Epstein donated to organizations, you know? You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Doesn't mean you're a good person.
I get it.
Okay? So how do we define, or we know how to define good person.
I got it.
How do we
already got it.
Separate the good people
I got it.
from the bad people?
I believe there is good and there's evil, and that everybody, I believe you have to make the choice. Now, that choice is going to look different at every point of somebody's life. We could get super deep and you could talk about people are born inherently evil, or people are born good and then maybe they just are evil because they went through hardships. But we know that's not true, because we both agree that we've both been massively hurt in our lives, and we're not just like a normal person who grew up with good parents and lived a good life, obviously. Well, I'm not saying you didn't have good parents. We haven't got that deep, but I'm saying you said you went through shit stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
So people have hurt you and you have done nothing. You were an innocent child. Okay,
100%.
So there's innocence in the world. There is natural good. We all have good. I believe we are all capable of good. I believe just like choosing God, in my opinion, and this is my view, I had to choose to follow Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. And before I did follow Him, I saw the fruits of my life before and the reason why I really did things. Now, I do things not because of it, because I always felt again, you're getting bad, but it's just like anything. You're choosing that decision. You're either choosing to walk with evil and the enemy, or you're choosing, in my eyes, this is my eyes, you're choosing to walk with good and love and grace and God, or you're choosing to walk with the enemy. And I'm sorry, but the enemy is the devil, and the devil is a lie, and he is bigger than anything we can even comprehend. There are spiritual things.
You're talking of free will now. All right, so
yes, will.
For the final segment, let's entertain.
Will is a decision. That's where I'm ending good and evil. You choose it. You know in your heart whether you're good or evil.
Let's entertain this real quick. I want to challenge you.
Okay. Oh, will is deep.
You're talking about free will.
I don't want to misquote.
All right, you're talking about free will. Okay.
Will's tough.
So you either choose to follow good or follow evil.
Yes.
But you just also said the devil's a lie, right?
Okay.
You know the difference between manipulation and motivation, right?
Yes. But manipulation can be used as motivation.
No. The difference between manipulation and motivation.
Okay.
Motivation means you are...
I guess people do use it. Sorry. I didn't mean it is use that.
You're convincing someone to do something that they already wanted to do.
Okay.
That's motivation.
Okay.
Manipulation is you're convincing someone to do something they do not want to do.
I love it.
Right?
I would never manipulate somebody to follow God.
Well, what we don't understand is we manipulate and motivate every day.
Yep, we do.
Right? So if you're my boss and I work at your card shop, I did not want to come to work today. But you told me, hey man, if you don't come to work today, so-and-so is going to happen. This is going to happen at the shop. I need you. I got this going on. Right? You're not trying to, but you just manipulated me to do something I did not want to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now.
And you might not want a job. I'll just let you know.
And you're manipulating right now.
That's fine. You have the will, and I'm not going to force you, but...
I didn't want to do it. Now, obligation is different. Like, I was obligated to. I signed the contract.
I just mess with
I signed the contract. I should come to work.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to that day.
Yeah.
You manipulated me too. That doesn't mean you're bad for it, right?
I know.
We use manipulation. Doesn't mean you're bad for using it or not, but how you use it is bad.
Yes.
Wrapping up this podcast episode, we've come to the conclusion, being a good person comes down to the definition as it says, that honesty, being helpful, and being morally good. But ultimately it comes down to your intention of those things, not your actions of those things. And that's interesting because there's a lot of things that we see when people do these good acts. Like, I donate to charity. How dare you tell me I'm not a good person? Well, your actions say that you donate to charity, yes, but you don't really care about those charities.
Right.
In reality, your intention is to write it off as a business expense.
For sure.
That's what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
Right? So, it comes down to your intention behind those moral and honest or helpful acts that you show. How
do you tell people's intentions? By the fruit of their life.
By the fruit of their life.
Right? By how they treat people, how they are every day, the testimonies that go for them, against them. It's pretty simple. You kind of see it, you know? You can see it in a normal conversation. If you didn't know somebody having a conversation like this, I think we've gotten to know each other a lot better already in just a couple
in this small
hours.
Conversation we have, but I will thank you.
Yeah.
Devon.
Hey, thanks for having me,
Thanks
bro.
for coming.
Yeah, it's an
honor.
honor.
That's been the Perfect Balance Podcast. If you guys haven't, I'm going to put links in where you guys can go check out some of Devon Dupree's work as a DJ. And hey, go check out his car shops if you're over here in Omaha at some point. So
love it.
That's going to be the Perfect Balance. I'm King John.
Keep being a good person.
Keep being a good person.
Hands up, I'm the man. How dare any rapper try to say something? He gon' get these hands and start dancing when I land him. He think he a predator. I'm Chris Hansen. Understand this, I don't think there's limits for me. This is only the beginning, word to K.O.D. I'm alive, let this foreshadow how I thrive. Make a living charting top fives, testing my drive.